What's going on? Here with another episode of the Halfcast podcast. We've stuck with the example of keeping bad motherfuckers on the episode for the last three episodes. We've brought the baddest people to our podcast, and now we've got the BMF of the ocean. Also known as the White Lightning, also known as National Treasure. You won 3 world titles, and also an Australian icon. Mick Fanning, thank you for coming on.
Good to see you,
brother.
brother.
Thank you very much for coming on.
Good to be
I
here.
really appreciate it.
Yeah.
We were also late, so he was sitting in his car. Classic island time.
Hanging in the car park.
Man, before we even get into it, with the reason why we're late, we're both watching the fights. Holy shit.
Wild, huh?
So Joanna and I'm not going to... I can't do it. You got it?
Yeah.
Joanna and...
Whaley.
You got it. All right, sweet.
Speak
the best women's... not even title fight, best women's fight I've ever seen.
That was incredible, eh?
It was like one was almost 500 strikes in 5... Holy shit. But the forehead...
Oh my God, that was so heavy.
Caught me off guard, every time, it was a bit too much. But you're an avid UFC follower.
I love it, yeah.
So how many fights have you had?
0.
On the streets?
On the street, 0. Yeah. Nah.
How come? Why do you love the
brothers? I just got into it. I obviously... when like Conor McGregor was coming up and just all this hype, and then became friends with Luke Rockhold and just love all the, I guess, all the mindset that goes into it and all the training that I just love watching. I love the warfare of it. And
as a top competitor, you understand that. So how did you become friends with Luke?
He's really good mates with the photographer that I travel with a lot of the time. They live together at the moment, and so it's just sort of mutual mates. And
he's an avid surfer? Or?
Yeah, he loves surfing, yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
A little bit of surfing.
Yeah, in Penrith.
Don't talk bad on Penrith. I know you're from Penrith.
I am from Penrith.
Original Penrith boys. Many people might not know this. So you started in Penrith?
Yeah, born in the P.N. hospital there.
Yes. Which room? I'm joking specifics, but
there probably was only one room back then.
It's getting big now.
Yeah,
airport's coming, man. Penrith's getting bigger. So how long were you in Penrith for?
I think we moved when I was about 4 or 5. We moved up to Coffs Harbour, and I was in Coffs Harbour for a couple of years, and then we actually moved back down to Campbelltown and lived in Campbelltown for...
So you went from 27 to 21 district.
Yeah. And
you don't know what that means, do you?
No. I was too young. And then from there moved to Ballina, and then finally the Gold Coast. So.
And what was it, Coffs Harbour that got into surfing, or Penrith?
Penrith.
Yeah.
No. the river there.
The PM River.
Yeah.
Loved it.
But yeah, my brothers just got me into it as a kid, and I just followed them around.
At Coffs Harbour?
Yeah. But I sort of stopped surfing once we went back to Campbelltown, got into skating. But my brothers still surf. My brother's like, my brother Ed, he was like 13, 14 at the time. He would jump on the train from Campbelltown and go down to Wollongong or go into Manly, 5 in the morning and stuff.
Yeah, that's a big thing now. I'm seeing a lot of islanders down at Thirroul and from Campbelltown. It's like the quick spot. My mum lives in Thirroul.
Yeah, right.
So we're down there a lot. And,
awesome.
I think a lot of islanders are making the shift over there.
Yeah, beautiful spot.
And way better than Bondi, way too packed. And like that other side down back on Appam Road.
Yeah.
So were you straight away better than your brothers when they taught you? Or because eventually the student obviously surpassed the teacher.
Look, I guess I wasn't... They were right into surfing from day dot. And then because I was younger, I wanted to play like team sports. So I was into soccer. I was into long distance running. So I was sort of more focused on that. It wasn't until we moved to the Gold Coast when I was 12 and I ended up getting sponsored by Quicksilver for surfing, and I was like, was more focused on, I was more focused on going soccer. And then once I got sponsored, I was like, I never got anything free from soccer, so I'm going surfing now. So,
and I don't know if I might mess this up, but is Quicksilver, because I just saw that something was the Corona Open now instead of Quicksilver? Quicksilver?
Yeah.
So what happens? Quicksilver went under?
No, Quicksilver, they're still there. They just transferred their event to Indo now rather than... so I think they've got 2 events. They got one... they used to have the one here for, almost 20 years actually. And now they moved that one to Indo, and then they've got one in France.
And so who decides to call it the Corona? Like, how does that, because Quicksilver obviously pays for the event, right? So how does Corona pay for it?
Yeah, they're paying for it.
Oh, actually Corona?
Yeah,
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that went over my head. I thought that was the whole issue. Oh my gosh. All right, sweet. That got me. Cut. No. Okay. Son of a, well, it got me. Okay. All right. And now that you're retired from surfing, right?
Yeah.
How much has changed since then?
Heaps. I guess like in my life, you mean? You mean the tour life?
Obviously, tour life. But now that you're retired, a lot of things would be different, right? I didn't come back to it, but I wanted to mention it before I forget. The fact that you chose soccer and what was the other sport? Running. Yeah. Long distance, but that's the endurance. Like, was there something about that cardio, like working out? Because long distance and that I'm all out. Like right. As soon as my lungs start getting to that point, I'm done. Like, I'm about that, short and sharp. So, is there something that got is there something that gravitated you to that? Or
no, it was just natural. When you start at school and you start doing races,
and
you're like, oh, I'm good at this, and ended up winning races, so I was like, I'm going to keep going down this route, and then started playing soccer and felt like I was pretty good at that, so I kept playing with that. But it was sort of, surfing's a funny one. It's sort of, kids will start at a real young age, and then they will sort of like, they won't absolutely fall in love with it until they're ready, and I think that's what it was for me. It was like, I surfed, but I wasn't like, this is my be-all and end-all.
And sponsorship obviously helped with that.
Being a kid with not much money, when you start getting free clothes, this is the best thing ever.
And I guess that sort of comes back to the retirement, because unlike some of the other sports, with surfing, even though you're retired, you still get to do your sport. Like, if I retire, I'm not going to go ask everyone to punch me in the face.
No,
you know what I mean? But boys, I'm still here. If you could just give me a whack. With surfing, I guess now that that's what I meant with the retirement. You're still enjoying it, loving it. Like, it's not something now. It's without the competition.
Yeah, very much so. It's more like so with my sponsors, I still go and just do surf trips. So I don't have to wake up and worry about like being in 100% peak physical condition to go and compete. So I get to go on these surf trips, go to places that I may have never really been before, or just go and explore the world in a different way rather than going to the exact same spots on tour every year.
And do you teach people when you're on those tours, or like or just do it for show? Like, is it similar to I always try and relate it. Is it similar to fighters doing seminars, like going around the world, or is it just you get to go do it and they record it?
Yeah, we just go and
hectic. You're just doing what you love, bro. That's the best. That's how much better.
Yeah, way better.
Yeah,
life's pretty damn good at the moment. So
so you're probably one of the, if not the most recognisable surfer in Australia. Where with those titles, obviously all that pressure comes from it. Is that when you came to that retirement stage, did you like the pressure, or is this the body, or was it that I've done enough or accomplished? Or?
Yeah, I sort of just lost the love of competing. I had a pretty wild year in 2015 where I had relationship problems, and then had the shark incident, and then at the end of 2015 lost my brother, all while trying to go for a world title. And I got to the end of it and I was just exhausted. And so 2016 I hit up the WSL and asked if I could have like 6 months off, and they granted me that, and so I went and started this. That was really scary though, like to really ring up and go, hey, can I like semi-retire for a bit? It was terrifying.
Well, it's like a relationship, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like, can we go on a break?
Yeah.
It's like, come on, you're breaking up with me.
Exactly.
Like, yeah. It's like, I just need to rest.
Yeah.
Come on, bro.
Yeah, but they were really cool. And then I went back in 2017 and I had nothing. It wasn't like I couldn't compete with the guys. It was more that I just didn't feel it.
That love.
Yeah.
I was just speaking to Mark Hunt, I think 2 podcasts ago, and he retired for essentially the same reason. But he said as soon as he stopped, he got the love back.
Yeah,
do you know
right.
what I mean? So now he's trying to get that boxing fight with Gallen.
Yeah, okay.
And it was like interesting because I don't know if it's the same with surfers, but actually it would be, because high profile athletes, like there's a reason why you're at the top of your game and the best of the best. With Mark and with all fighters, you just don't lose that fight in you, man. Like the competition, like when you see fighters, you're like, bro, you shouldn't be coming back. Nah, because we're fighters. We've fucking got it in us. We've just got that.
Yeah, for me, look, I love watching it now. I watch it way more than what I did when I was on tour. And I watch everyone. But yeah, to put on the jersey again and paddle back out, I just don't care. Like if I win or lose, I don't really care.
Yeah. And that's definitely a deciding factor.
Yeah,
It's like you should
like,
be cut with yourself if you don't lose. Like you have to have that driving factor to win.
Exactly. If you don't have that, then you've already lost. So I was just like, yeah, I'm good.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
I found myself getting sloppy too. Through that last year, I was just like, I just wasn't putting in the work enough to go and be the best either. And I'm sort of like that person. If you're going to do something, you might as well do it right.
To 100%, and you can see that in a lot of other aspects of your life. But so if with our podcast, like a lot of our listeners are going to be MMA fighters, but what does it take to be the best surfer? Like what are you getting sloppy on? Like what? So you can see in surfing, man, like it went from like people riding the barrels. Now I didn't even know people are doing front flips and like spinning aerials, and I was like, I've just only because of this, I'm watching and I was going, I can't do that on land, let alone water. And I was like,
me either. That's another reason I retired. Look, I think it doesn't matter if you're in sport or if you're in fighting or if you're in business. Everything comes down to hard work, and you've got to put the work in. Otherwise, there's someone else that will put the work in and overtake you. As you said before, master versus apprentice. That apprentice will keep doing the work and learn, and then slowly overtake. So, if you don't put in the hard work, then you're not going to achieve much.
And have you noticed that change? Like, I'm sure like surfing's no different to any other sport, but you've changed like to a strength and conditioning program. You've changed to like, because you watch soccer, football, MMA, everything's sped up now because now everyone's doing strength and conditioning, everyone's doing fitness, everyone's doing everything on top of what they're doing as a sport. Yeah,
look, when I first got on tour, it was such a fun party. It was hilarious. Like,
it was a drink up and you got to surf as well when you went.
Yeah,
mad.
Yeah. And it was just that, we're living the dream. We're going to the best beaches in the world, and I don't know. Like some people say that I'm the catalyst for all the change, but for me, I tore my hamstring off in 2004, and I got to a point. I remember sitting on the couch and watching an event that I was in, And I thought I absolutely got flogged in this event. And then I watched it again. And I was just like, I just wasn't as sharp as I would. And I remembered that 2 nights before I was out partying, so I wasn't sharp. And I had this bad guilt come over me. And I just went, that's it. I'm going to go and learn about body and see how good I can be. And then I'll party at the end of it. Party with a trophy.
Well,
athlete.
you just knocked off my 2 points that I was coming up to. So I don't forget, you can remind me that the first is how we met, the second was injuries, and then, look, I've already forgotten the third thing. Damn it. All right, so the first was we met at the GQ Awards.
Yeah.
The GQ Awards, I think, was the first and last time I'll be invited.
Yeah.
So
Didn't you go back again?
That was when I thought I wasn't going to get invited back, and Ty was yelling out the whole time.
Yeah,
so
right.
everyone was quiet, and then I just heard Ty, yeah, that I was like, bro, we're not getting invited back here. But we got to meet Mellow Ball, and that was probably a highlight of the. We sat with him, and
Classic.
he thought we were two spastics.
Yeah.
But we met at the GQ Awards, and because it's only recently that I've come out of my show. I'm more of an introvert than I'm an extrovert. So
Yeah.
like obviously when I'm drinking, I was like that sort of brings me out of my shell. And now I'm only now learning that I don't need alcohol to come out of my shell.
Hey, it was a fun night.
Yeah.
Though.
So what happened is Mick tried to fight me on the dance floor.
Hey.
He pretty much wanted to spar on the dance floor, and then we've got photos, obviously.
Yeah.
I'll put them up of us with our shirts off on the dance floor. I thought there was no way they're inviting Fobs back to the GQ Awards. But man, I was,
That was hilarious.
It was a hilarious night,
Yeah.
and very fun. But,
Dance fighting.
he wanted a crack, obviously. He wanted a crack at the title.
No way.
And then, from back what you're talking with the hamstring, you've had a couple big injuries, and I want to go deep into the injury side. So that was your major one, the hamstring off the bone, right? And then 2018 was it was only straight after me when you did your ACL.
Yeah.
So and then after that you did your ACL. Were you already retired when you did your ACL?
I was, yeah.
Which obviously takes a bit of pressure off. So the hamstring, when you're watching that, knowing that you weren't performing at your best, right? Like,
that was So I did my hamstring in 2004. So I'd already been on tour. I'd only been on tour for 2 years at that stage, and at that time they really didn't know. Like, I saw so many physios, I saw so many different doctors, and they're like, "We can see your hamstrings off the bone. We just don't know how to fix it." And then luckily I got put in touch with a doctor in Sydney, Dr. David Wood, and he was like, "Yeah, I do this all the time." So then he just, fixed it all up. But he had only done so many at the time where he didn't know if I would actually get back to being 100%.
With that, doctors always do that. And I've had 2 major injuries, and both of them have said, "You'll never fight the same."
Yeah.
Every time I think in my head when they look at me and say that, I was like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Because that, never let someone else stipulate what you're going to do with your body. It's only your own mind. And I think sometimes people allow other people to tell them what's going to happen with their body. I was like look at yourself.
Yeah.
They tell you you're not going to come back from that hamstring. You come back and kill it.
Yeah.
That's a fuck you.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it was for me, the guy was sort of like, "Look, if you don't get the surgery, you'll never run again." And I'm like, first, I'm just like, well, I need to run. If I can run, I can surf. So, I wasn't really too concerned. But there were some dark days where you're sitting there and you're like, oh, is this the end or not? And it was a really good wake up call for me, because I may have really taken my whole career up until that stage for granted.
I feel you.
Young and just...
I feel you.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're saying. Just for example, after my knee injury, same thing, dark days. And sometimes you don't even know it's dark days until you come out of those dark days. And compared to what other people are going through, they might not have been duct tape. And how my family always taught me, and it might not be right, is that you can beat everything, like not go through all of that. That's just their culture, right?
Yeah.
And very hard how we're brought up. So, like not having a goal, I think I wasn't doing a lot of stuff. So I started this thing called the 75 Hard. And it's from the MFC. I've spoken about it before, but it's do 2 workouts a day, 1 inside, 1 outside, drink a gallon of water, read 10 pages, take a progress pic every day and stick to a diet, and not drink any alcohol. And man, normally I'll drink beers in fight camp because it's not a big thing for me. I still perform. And that comes back to how you were saying, like taking advantage of that talent, I think. Mm-hmm. And when I didn't have anything to aim for with the ACL surgery after that, I was just like cruising.
Yeah.
But then when I had that 75 days, I started pumping it. It was like I trained harder than I ever did, do a lot of things because I had that goal to get to 75 days. Yesterday, I broke the 75 days, 35 days in. So I came up here and you have to do 1 inside workout, 1 outside workout. We started at 4 a.m. yesterday so I could get everything in. Yeah. Went through the whole night, did the appearance at Fight Night, went to Joshy, who owns the store, Fresh Ink. Watched his fight, and when I got home, I was like, I've still got to do 1 workout. So I did the 45-minute workout. When I woke up, I realized I did it inside. I didn't do the outside workout. Now I've got to start at day 1 again.
Okay.
So it's a more of a mental toughness thing than a physical thing. Because me admitting that to myself, I haven't even told my wife at the moment because she's doing it with me. Yeah. And she's going to be devastated. Yeah. Because after the 75 days, we planned a holiday afterwards so we could go do whatever. And now, because I fucked up, now I've got to explain to her. Otherwise, if you don't accept responsibility, I can go, oh no, I did it outside. Yeah. But it's integrity, right?
Yeah. No, so I got you.
I wasn't actually going to tell her on the podcast, but I feel like if I tell her on the podcast, I hold myself responsible and hold myself to accountability. Yeah, and that's the whole point of this thing. Yeah. To teach you mental toughness and be the best person that you can be. So, sorry, babe. But we're not going on that holiday anymore. You'll hear it here first.
Oh, God.
So talking about wives, I heard you're recently engaged.
Yeah, got engaged and having my first kid in August. Yeah.
How long? So what's that? August.
So we're at
3 months.
Yeah. So.
Don't say I did the quick maths. It's wrong. I know it's wrong. I just yelled out 3.
No.
I said 3 months. You're like, yeah.
No, I was going to do the weeks. I was going to do the weeks.
5.
5 months. Yeah.
3 + 2 is what I meant.
Yeah. She's just into the second trimester now.
So please tell me, because I've waited out on having babies because it scares the shit out of me. So like last year when I was fighting, I was away for like 6 months, so I didn't want to go, here's a baby, I got to go take a camp. Good luck.
Yeah. Look, well, I'm 38 now, so I did my whole career without
that's old,
having. I know I'm old. Look, I would have had kids earlier, but I was just so busy with what
obsessed,
I was doing.
Right?
Yeah.
And so this is what I try to, like, man, this is something that plays on my mind as well, because I'm so obsessed with fighting, like with training, everything. Like I'll get home and the wife wants to talk or anything. I was like, I can't even. It's like I'm on my period in fight camp, right? It's like essentially the same thing. I've got nothing for you. I was like, don't touch my body. I'm not an object. Like that sort of, you know what I mean? I'm so sore from other men grinding on me and sweating on me all day. I don't want my wife to touch me. Wow. Like, that's where it's gotten to. But
I won't touch you then.
But what I've tried, because when you have this obsession, this is why I've loved like talking to these other people that have made me realize that I'm not crazy, is that if you have a partner that's backing you, like that obsession's all right. So what I said, I was like, give me 3 years to be the best at what I can be in MMA. And then she's very successful in the work in the line of work she does. Yeah. So I was like, just give me 3 years, because it's selfish. I was like, I can't wash the dishes. I can't, because when I'm tired, like, but I'll still try, but we're going to have arguments over it because I've just got bashed for like 10 rounds. Yeah. So little things like that. I was like, give me 3 years of this dumb shit, and then you do whatever you want, because then I'm backing you and I'll be a stay-at-home dad. I'd rather that. I'd rather that than not getting punched in the face. You make the money. I'll be the stay-at-home dad.
Just like, mini fist
swap the roles, swap the roles. But it still scares the shit out of me having another human that is going to come into this world that is, You know,
Relying on
perfect example. Not only relying, you have become this. People say you can't change the world.
Yeah.
Because you're so small. You've become a person that have used your platform and done so much that you are in a position that you can change the world, right?
I think everyone can.
No, everyone definitely can. And it starts with one person at a time. It starts with yourself and being the best. But you definitely are in that position. So how does that not scare the shit out of you that you're in charge of someone that is going to be in that position of, potentially, right?
To be really honest, you know, we decided to, you know, plan on having a baby, and then once I saw the test come through, I couldn't talk for a whole day. All I could say was shit. I was just like, shit, like, because that first initial...
It's too much to comprehend, right?
Yeah. I'm like, as you were just explaining, like, I'm going to be responsible for this kid for the rest of its life, you know? And so I'm like, oh man, just freaking out. But I think as humans, we're able to do... The human body, the human mind is so... You know, I don't think we really tap into it until we need to do.
Right?
Yeah. I think
have you read any of David Goggins or listened to his books?
I listened to a podcast and
listen to his audiobook, bro. Have you read Relentless? The book Relentless?
No.
Man, please read that, and like I'd love to just you do like a talk back of after reading that. Yeah. Because everything in that book explains what you're doing in life. Yeah. So he was Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan's coach. Yeah. And he just explains, he calls them cleaners, but essentially the best in what they do. Right? Yeah. And he says that it doesn't matter whether they do it in sport, whether they do it in business, whether they do it, they're going to be the best. And it's not because of their abilities, it's because of their mindset. Yeah, right?
Exactly. Their drive.
So I would love for you to read that and tell me what you thought of it. But
cool. I'll give it a go.
The same as David Goggins.
Yeah.
Just like...
He's wild, isn't he?
Right. I love it. I love that shit. Like I've got another mate that will call me up at 4 a.m. So actually next weekend, he goes, David Goggins had a challenge and it was like 4 miles every 4 hours for 48 hours.
Wow.
And I can't run at the moment, but I'm going to do on the bike 10K. So if anyone wants to do it, we'll be doing it at the Regatta Centre in Penrith. We're only going to do 5Ks because I can't run. But if you're down, meet us at the Regatta Centre. But the only stipulation is you have to finish it.
There you go.
So actually, so back to with your kids and what was the lessons? So you're the best at what you do now, and we're going to get into it. But as a businessman, at surfing, as an entrepreneur, what were those lessons as a kid, whether it was from out west or anywhere? That was there any key lessons or mentors or influences in your life that you go, oh, that's where I learned how to give it my all, give it 100%, do it?
Yeah, there was a heap.
It's a culmination, right?
Yeah,
but was there any that stick out in your mind that?
One was my mum used to stick this one picture up on the fridge, and I don't know if you ever seen it, but it's the frog getting eaten by the stork, but it's still got its arm around its neck, and it just says "Never give up."
No, I haven't seen it, but I love that.
Yeah, so it's
please tell me you
like
haven't said that before, because that's a golden nugget for the podcast. If you haven't heard, that's how you be the best. Yeah. Right, that's it. Right,
so that was a big thing for us. Is like, even if you're coming in last in a race or something, just don't give up. Mm-hmm. You know, just keep going, and I always found that if you didn't give up, then it was okay to go to sleep, even if you lost. Like, you know, even if it was a race or it was a...
Right, so that comes back to when you said that you did your hamstring, it played on your mind that you knew that you were drinking the 2 nights before, right? So that's what's happening with me right now. I'm thinking about that I didn't do that workout outside, so there's no way that I could say I'd do that workout because it's in my mind that I didn't do what what
you came out to
exactly.
do.
I love that.
Yeah, so that was a big thing.
Luke McNeil.
Right. He's gone.
He's late, but he was supposed to do the podcast with me. We're going to jump him in. He's been on the podcast before. Jump in the middle. You crippled.
We're all that way.
Thank you for exactly. Thank you for coming, brother.
No worries.
This is my main man.
Thank you.
So now we've got 2 BMFs in on the seat.
Three.
Use the BMFs. I don't count myself as a BMF yet.
Well, I count you as well.
Oh, my man, thank you. Have you met before?
We haven't. No.
Oh,
Mick.
Maybe
mate, this is gonna be. Oh yeah, Red Bull. We're gonna cut. We're gonna beep Red Bull out because they don't sponsor me.
Drink West.
You got to come up close, bro.
Right.
I'll take it to you. Sit back.
I'll take it.
Relax like that. Be awkward.
I'm laid back.
So Luke is a freestyle motocross. Actually, you tell them yourself about it.
Yeah, I'm a freestyle motocross rider. Do a bit of stunt work in movies too.
I really wanted to get you on because we're talking about injuries at the moment, and he was on my podcast just before he did his injury in China, and I wanted to bring you on about your ACL. But please, you guys need to hear this guy's story, and my gosh, like, let's go. Bro, can you tell it from the get-go?
Oh,
please.
This story is it's definitely a challenging one. It definitely challenged me a bit. So over in China riding shows there. That's a challenging country in itself just to live there. It's coronavirus, not only plus that, it's very, very different. They're just bred and brainwashed different to us. Yep. So then itself, it's difficult on yourself to live there. On top of that, I was riding every single day, and I come off, went to do a no-handed backflip in a train. The bars went left because my stabilizer's out, and as I went to grab back the bars, the bike come down sideways, and I had my foot out and compound fractured tib, broke my fib, broke my naviculum, and broke my talus. But in the meantime,
so that means it came out of his skin. Can you show you?
Yeah,
here
it is. We'll get it there.
Oh.
No, put it down.
She's a good-looking leg still. And then, so I crashed, and I had 4 other guys behind me, 4 other people in front of me, and the 4 other bikes. I managed to do a good job to get out of the way, even with a broken leg. The initial instant, it's crazy what goes through your head and the air as something goes on, because I swear that 2 seconds or 3 seconds feels like 3 minutes. And I'm just going bah, 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 for like 1,000 different scenarios and situations that I could do to prevent this, or the best outcome that I could have. And I managed to, as I was coming in, I knew I grabbed the bars, and as I come down through the bars, like, I knew that the bike was full unweighted and it was coming in sideways, so I thought I might be able to pick up the front end to tail tap it in and get the front end, the back end to hit and the front end to come follow, but the front end was way too gone. I was 90 degrees coming into it. I would come down, hit, scurried out of the way for other bikes, and then I was laying on the ground. The show continued because Chinese people and entertainment, they don't stop for nothing. You could be dead on the ground. They're just like,
show must go on, bro.
Show must go on.
You
exactly.
know that. Surely you know that. Your leg doesn't mean shit to the show.
No, not at all. And I realised that. And then I was sitting there, and they're trying to drag this big ass down ramp out, 20-ton down ramp, and we're yelling at them, going, "Oh, yeah, stop!" And I'm on the ground. They're about to run me over. I mean, my teammate's like, "Oh, dude, well, you might have to climb up this wall." And I'm like, "Oh, my leg's flopping all over the place. I know it's bad." But someone started scurrying up this wall, trying to get out of the way, and they stopped as it hit my bike. They stopped with the down ramp. Mind you, the thing that got me through it, I reckon, is as I hit the ground, I knew it was broken straight away. I knew severity of it. And I just said to myself, I said, "All right, you're in this situation." And my mates walked over. "What's wrong?" I said, "Oh, compound fracture. Bad break, man. It's bad, real bad." And they're like, "You're so normal about it, cool, calm, collected." I'm like, "Well, I accept it already, man."
Just on that, did you know when you did your ACL?
Yeah. Instantly.
And yeah, I can't explain it, but that was the same as me. As soon as I snapped it, it's loud, it hurts.
Yeah.
But my only thing that I was worried that my dad was going to bash me more when I got out the back if I didn't continue fighting. So I went another round and no use at all. But the whole thing with go out on your shield or go with it, that was my only thing, because I was like, Dad's going to bash me if I don't keep going.
Have you seen Tyson's dad? For example,
big teddy bear now. And then from there, they didn't have an ambulance. You had to go across the border. You didn't have painkillers.
So China, it's illegal to have painkillers there. Opioids are banned just because everyone's obviously heard of the opioid shacks and that they used to have there. So opioids are banned. They don't have proper ambulances, and they only have pretty much meat wagons, load you up and take you there. But there's no paramedics there. I think only Shanghai is the only place for paramedics. I didn't know this.
Wow.
At this
Because
time.
you don't plan to compound fracture your leg.
No.
Not at all. And what I knew, there was first aid there, and the first aid there in his kit, he just had Band-Aids. So I'm like working for this billion-dollar company. And
that was good. Slap that on, fucking walk it off, big boy.
Yeah. I hope he wove that magic wand on there too to make some things happen.
And then you had to catch a public bus across to Macau.
So yeah, I was in my instant. It's crazy because I was in a bad situation, not a good situation, but automatically I had a scenario in my head. I was dealing. And I knew straight away, I was like, I got to get to Macau because there's painkillers there and there's better health, just better facilities. There's casinos. There's rich people that own these casinos. So in my head, there's going to be better facilities than what China has. So I was in this, laying on the tray. Mind you, the show's getting going on. I waited there for a little bit. Oh, plus, my good mate, one of the team members, as I was going out, and I was like, here you go, have this. Chucks me an endone. Like one little
you're
thing.
sorted then.
But yeah, no worries. Endo's going to sort out everything. But I appreciate the team. The boys out of the team looked after me tremendous. Good. We've done what we could in the situation.
So from there, I wanted to talk to you both about the headspace after that for recovery. So the reason why I wanted to bring you both in with the injuries is because I've got so many cousins, friends, everything that are going through either NRL, MMA, any of the professional sports, and once they get chucked through the meat grinder and they get injured, see you later. Like, it doesn't matter. If my brother retired from football at 19. He was an SG ball for Bulldogs, 2 shoulder recos at 19.
Oof.
So retired. And there's no plan to teach these guys how to deal with those mental issues or even to how to get back to sport. Like, with my ACL, I've done it twice now, and not once did it go through my head that I've got to retire. Like, there's heaps of comments, bad comments, because people don't understand my mindset. I was like, I don't give a fuck what you think.
Yeah.
I'm going to be back.
Yeah, exactly.
No matter whether it's in UFC, whether it's in, I'll go play rugby league. I'm going to do something because I know that I'm coming back from this. So I wanted to understand from your guys' point of view that dark side, which I know every single person will go to. And even if they don't admit it's a dark side, that it's a lower point in their life, but you also need those low points to deal with that adversity to come on the other side. So I wanted to know how you came back. Like, I know you went through a hard rehab. 6 months and you're already back surfing, man. Amazing. So
yeah, not surfing amazing, but
no aerials?
Nah, I can barely stand up. No, look, I guess from my side of it was, as I knew exactly what I did when I did it. Yeah. So I was like 6 months minimum. Mm-hmm. So I had that in my mind, and then it was just like, all right, well, how can I make this better and easier as I go along? And I just focused solely on just the rehab. I was going so many different places and dealing with so many different treatments. It was almost like going to work each and every day.
100%.
And there were dark times for sure where you sit there and that critic comes in and he's sitting there going, well, you feel like you're going backwards today, this and that. Like, especially when you're on the bike and you're doing those first laps around, and you're like, I was better yesterday.
Man. And did you notice a difference between the voice at the hamstring injury and the ACL injury? Because obviously the pressure of competition wasn't there because you had retired at 2018, right?
Yeah, it was very different, very different. So when I did the hamstring in 2004, I wasn't equipped mentally to deal with that.
Yep, that's happened with my first leg injury. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, where now I sort of knew what was coming in, even though, and I sort of, when I had that critic come in, I would get that question to someone else, or I'd tell someone else before it started manifesting in my brain, where back in 2004, I got dark. Like, I would close up the house, just sit on the couch.
Yeah, that was the same for me.
Yeah.
And David Goggins actually talked about that when he was running. He was like, when you're going through some of the hardest shit in your life, if you haven't already predicted those questions that are going to come up, so like when he was going through Navy SEALs training or the massive marathons that he did, he was like, at some point, you're going to ask yourself, or the subconscious is going to go, why the fuck are we doing this? And if you haven't answered that question prior, that question will break you. It was like, shit, why am I doing this? And I've seen it plenty of times in one of my fights. I've spoken about this as well. Like, I came out and I was versing such a high level guy that I was just content on being there. And I was like, I wonder where my wife's sitting. And I knew it was going to be a fuck night. Like, I was like, if I'm thinking about my wife before I get punched, and I got punched the fuck out of it for the next 3 rounds. Yeah. But it's like, if you haven't answered that question of why are you here, it's like when it comes up in a bad situation and you don't have answers to that, it's going to be a bad night.
Yeah.
So I completely understand with you. Is that this? Is the same with you? Because you're, bro. We actually speak a lot in the same. We've gone very close with you, bro, because of that same grit, man. We have that same thing of we could call each other at 4 a.m. in the morning and go, do you want to go for a run?
Definitely.
And we're on.
Definitely. And I was like, I don't feel alone. Definitely. I feel like someone's with me, with you. I always can converse with you with different sides of positive things and open-minded and just things that some people just wouldn't get, because these sort of situations, you can't talk to anyone about it. Not everyone gets it. Mm-hmm. Not everyone gets it. But I think so I'm kind of lucky, and I'm building that database up with more people that I can do that. Just like Tyson, like I said, our relationship's growing pretty good, and he's helped me a tremendous amount with things. He's introduced me to people that's done the world for me. Like Buzz just humbles me every time I go in there. Yeah. And he's like, I'm doing so great. And then I walk out of there, well, not so great.
Yeah, he's a son of a bitch.
yeah, we both know it.
He's our physio, and man, he's been smashing us. So this is and like you said, with not having the ability at 23, now that you're going through it, that's the sort of adversity that I'm talking about. The lessons that you learned from that period, you knew how to deal with this thing at this time. So like I had my major leg injury, and then I did my ACL, and then literally 3 days into camp after I did my ACL, I tore my meniscus and ACL. Oh. So everyone was like, I walked out of the surgeon's office when he told me that I tore my ACL again in New Zealand. I was training at CKB, and my little brother and my dad were sitting out there, and I go, well, we're going home. And we had paid for camp, accommodation, everything, 3 days into camp. No. And my little brother, when he was in the car, he was like, I remember when I did my shoulder the second time, he was like, I felt like it broke me. And I was like, I just know I'm coming back. But it's only because of those other hardships that I've gone through. So it's definitely those lessons and stuff that you learn from that. Do you think
like, the thing that got me through it is accepting it. Accepting the moment that you're in. So as soon as I was laying there, I know it was a bad situation, but screaming and crying, it's not going to do anything. And accepting it and building a plan straight away. I think when you accept it first, it's better. You're like, all right, we can tackle it. You're not going to have the, raindrops and sun drops, thing. But accepting it would be the first thing. You're going to go through hard times, but I think that's the first thing of grasping it.
I think you hit the nail on the head there, because the first time when I did my ACL, I didn't understand the process. So I was in that limbo period where you don't understand the physio, what stages you're at. When I hit the second one, when I did it, I was like, okay, I need to do this, 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 and this, and then by that I'll be back. Mm-hmm. So that that knowledge of knowing what's going on. So you're right on with that.
I feel like that through life also doing just working on your head flat out and all the time doing your mental games, you equipped yourself for when these situations come. So when I was laying on the ground, I knew that was going to not be a good trek to go to Macau, to another country, and I got out of the ambulance and we got the passport and that, and then I'm sitting on a public bus going across the border, and I'm just like, oh, this is going to make a great story. This is going to make a great story.
Everything, anytime something goes really bad in my life, I was like, chuck it in the book. I don't even know if I'm going to write a book, but I know if I did, it would be in there. I was like, do you have
book?
You didn't put, that's the Western Sydney. Do you have a routine meditation, any mentalism?
I did when I was competing. Mm-hmm. But yeah, look, even when I was competing, there were times where, I've totally doubted myself. Mm-hmm. And, when you're going for a world title, you're sort of like, oh God, am I ready? Am I not? And then I'd have a routine each day that I'd go through that would, I'd check if my body was right, my mind was right, and my equipment was right. And so that was my way of building myself up to get rid of the critic, what I call the devil on the shoulder. So that was my way of doing it.
Most of the guys that we've had in here, even as a kid, they didn't even know that they were doing it. But at the top level, a big part of the thing was visualization
So crazy you're talking about it, because today I had a young kid at the track at the farm where we're staying, and I was telling him, and I got up Adesanya, and he was sitting there visualizing, he was crying. And every time I'm driving, I had these visualizations. If I can get that emotionally attached to it, and I'm that emotionally attached, you can make yourself like feel it and feel the feeling. That's how powerful it can get. And I was cool because I've never seen it documented on a video, and he was documented on a video. So I think you would probably go through it. You've probably gone through it. Have you ever manifested like a world championship when you won it?
Yeah, definitely.
Felt it?
Visualization was a big thing for me.
Mad.
I remember my first world title. I knew exactly where I was going to win. I pictured it at the start of the year, yeah.
Fuck that.
And that was it, yeah.
It gives me chills, man. I love it.
And then the day that it happened, I was like, this is the day. This is the day, like driving to the beach. This is
everything
the day.
you pictured, hey, it's amazing.
You won already.
How I carried on afterward, I didn't picture that.
I didn't have visualizations of that. but in saying that led on to You Love Beer, and now from that, you've created Bolter, right? So that was a mad segue.
You both have something in common.
Come on, that's a mad segue. All right. So anyways, you visualized it. Yeah, you did, but by doing it. But Bolter, man, what an amazing story. Like, I was thinking about how I can put it to like ask for a loan now that man, the reason why I'm so interested in it is because we obviously started Drink West, and exactly what you've done, we're trying to emulate, right? And I'm so like, I just look at it as like that's what I want to do. It's the same as where I look at like the best fighter in UFC. I was like, that's where I want to be. I was like, what you've done like as an entrepreneur after, that's exactly what I want to do.
Yeah.
And man, I'm amazed. But like, could you please give us a background and
so
any hints? Any contacts? Nothing. No.
Yeah, got them all. No, you can come through the brewery and have fun.
Hectic.
Yeah,
we won't come out by the sounds of
it.
it.
We won't leave.
It'd be like a little mouse just running around the vats.
Bro, that's the best thing about having a beer. All the stuff that you have to taste to just get to the beer.
R&D's amazing, isn't it? That's the best thing ever. They were some of the best nights. But how it started was a mate, B. Durbridge, who we were on tour with, just pulled me up on a flight one day. He's like, do you want to start a brewery? And I'm like, why not? Free beer for life, right? and so we got chatting, then he'd already spoke to another guy on tour, Josh Kerr, and then they're like, oh, do you reckon Parker will be involved? And
I
was
Josh
like,
Kerr was the person I was trying to think of before.
Yeah.
When I said Jeff.
Yeah.
Not even close.
All good. And then we got Parker involved, and we were just like, look, let's just have fun with it. But our thing was just to build a culture where people enjoy going to work and they believe in what they're making. And we had this thing of everyone that we employ, would you sit down and have a beer with them? So that was sort of our thing. But our staff is incredible, and everyone, it's the same as like in sport. It's just been hard work. Like the amount of big days that people have pulled has been incredible. I'm
really happy to hear that, because as much as I was joking about hitting the big companies, the whole reason why we started was pretty much emulating that, like not even on purpose. Hearing that, it pumps me up, because there's no beer from out west. It was like we're creating that beer, and our whole first run we gave away for free. It was like we want to have our beer for the West. Yeah. And we made a story for the West, about the West, and then even now we had the beer and we're like, this doesn't taste good enough. Like, we want it to be better. Yeah. So we just changed the recipe. Should be out this week. I hope so. It's 2 fobs working on this project, man. Give us a break. Like, we're trying. So we just tasted the beer. The first beer, I think I gave it extra points because I had my own beer. Yeah. Like that excitement, baby. Probably I gave it more. Now, this is my favorite beer. By far. Better than Bolter.
All good, mate. All good.
I'm joking. It's really cool to be doing this side and like talking to other athletes that are going this way, because if there's anything that I want to pass on to kids as well, it's like not only to be the best, but whatever you do, be the best at and do it to 100%. And like, beer's one of the things that you're doing. You've done the Stab in the Dark. That was really cool. I just watched that thing today.
Yeah, that was fun.
You got attacked by a shark. Like, let's be
honest.
You said that was one of the bad one of the things that made it worse year for you? You said with your relationship, and was that because of the actual incident or what the aftermath of it?
It was more the aftermath. Yeah.
Because the incident. Bro, you look like you played it off. You were like, the shark was more worried about you, Rob.
It's just like you want to fight. If shark walks up and just playing it off.
Yeah, you played it off well, but the aftermath, right? And like with your, I don't know, fame is like.
Yeah, look, it's sort of like I didn't start surfing to become famous. I didn't, want to become world champion to be famous. I wanted to do it because of me. And after the shark incident, like. I call it panda watch, like in Anchorman, where they're just watching the panda the whole time, and it was like there was literally news vans out the front of my house just waiting for me to walk outside or something, and it's like I'm trying to get over something here and heal, but they're just there, and I couldn't do anything. It was pretty rough.
After we said there was something said on our podcast. The same thing happened at Andrew's house, and I was like, man, I'm so happy that people don't even know where I live. Like, UFC isn't that big now, like, and that's NRL or something, and that's what that fame, I think, like, does, and there's a responsibility that comes with it, and I was like, we spoke about it before that we're not going to mention on it, but this person, to give that person the media or whatever, but that's the type of things that will happen, and these... Yeah, I won't get into it, but yeah.
It's crazy that media just grabs the negative stuff. You won multiple world champions. You're a multiple world champion. That's like the biggest thing. You're the best in the world. And then they'll grab a shark attack and blow it out and make these things look like monsters.
Yeah.
And why? Like, the media is just crazy.
It is pretty crazy. Come on.
It's like it's like if you see a car crash on the highway.
Yeah.
Everyone slows down. What's going on?
40K, you think the crash is on your side, but it's on the other side.
Yeah.
Oh, been amazing. That Ocean Ramsey. Oh, watch some of her stuff.
Yeah, right.
And she's just...
Swimming with sharks and stuff.
That just amazes me, man. I even got that as my screensaver.
Yeah,
and
right.
I think about you with... maybe you need some tips off her. How to
I actually just
wine
finished
with sharks.
Well, that's what I want to get into as well. But my family only just found out about... Well, my other side of my family found out about you after the shark attack. But I actually knew you from year 6. I got into Kingswood Public School, and we had... I don't know if you even had to accept to do this, but we had to do a crime scene investigation, and we had to figure out which person like made the crime, and you were one of the people that was part of the crime. Do you remember it? Yeah, so it's a smart. I was going to say special school, but like you had to get accepted into the school, and you had to do like fingerprint testing and stuff to figure out who was the culprit.
Yeah,
and
right.
you were one of the people, and because I think I fluked to get into the school, right?
Yeah.
So I didn't do any of the things. I just assumed it was you by the look of you.
Yeah.
So I just went guilty.
Wasn't me.
But that was I knew you from way back. But
Classic.
now that my family and after the shark attack, you've now done a shark documentary. Please give us some background and what's the end goal with that?
Yeah, look, it was a two-sided thing that we did. A friend of mine, he directed the whole thing. I've done surf movies, and he's now into that style of documentaries and stuff. And it was about part of it for me was a personal journey to see if I was okay with being face to face with
Going
sharks.
back to it, I love that.
Yeah,
That's mad. Bro, that's the same as me. If you have a problem, you go straight at it.
Yeah. So I went and saw that, and then the other one was just people think that sharks are just these mad killers, but they're such a big part of the environment. So it was learning about why sharks are reacting the way they are, and what they're doing for the ocean and how we're messing that up. So it was a two-sided coin, but it was incredible.
That amazes me.
When does that come out?
You have something that's trying to kill you, but you just have so at peace with it, and you still respect it as an animal, and still like you got no emotional attachment, feeling like in an angry way towards it at all.
It's like me with my dad.
Yeah,
Love you, Dad. Sorry about that.
And then you go out of your way to try and make it a better place for them, try and make the world a better place for them through your documentary.
Yeah, look, a lot of things too was when it all happened. I couldn't find much research on it all. It was like there's a little bit here, a little bit there, but no one had any concrete evidence. And so I really wanted to go, especially because, like, you know, just down the coast here, an hour, there's been so many attacks in Ballina and around the Byron area as well. And so I was really intrigued about why is that happening, because growing up there as a kid, I didn't even think about it. So that was another part of it, and just learning more. You know, I think it's like, you know, we're talking about injuries and stuff where before you got injured, you didn't know anything about it. Now you could probably take someone through it the whole way and teach them all about it. So that's what I'm trying to explain to people outside of it, but also learning myself.
And I think you learn more about, when you explain it to people, you learn more about it yourself as you're going into depth with it. I think being a champion or being at any level and that, there's a whole process to it. It's when you're young, you don't know that process, but if you could grab it and then teach a younger person, that process would be so much easier.
Yeah, but you don't have patience.
Wisdom.
Oh, yeah.
If wisdom was a lesson, my gosh.
It's just real events.
Well, when you're young, you don't
give a shit.
Yeah, you're too busy doing everything else, you know.
And especially with all that information coming in, you don't know any other. You don't have any other information, right? So you can't compare it. So you know what you know, and then someone telling you something else that has all that information, you're like, doesn't relate to what I'm doing. So like, that's why you don't get along with your parents, right? When you're younger, and once you get older and learn all that information, you're like, oh shit, I was a dick. So we don't want to hold you here all night, man. We've got a couple questions for you. What's in store for the future?
Yeah, look, just getting back to 100% with this knee.
Yep.
Obviously, having a kid in August. I'm still surfing, and just trying to. I don't know. I've sort of. Now that the kids come along, I've sort of just put everything on hold, to be honest. I'm just so excited to become a dad and just, you know, create a family and take that next step in that chapter.
Do you feel that, like, everything that you work for in life, you're like, this is my logic. I'm building a mad database and that, just so I can try and pass all this knowledge on to when I have a kid, to make them the best version of better than me.
Don't take my next question.
We're in sync. We're in sync. We're in sync. We're in sync.
On sync, bro.
Yeah, we're in sync.
I'm
in your head.
Try and take my questions.
I'm in your head.
So what key message would you want to teach your kids? Bro, I'm serious.
This was not Ruhan. This was like four just off the blue.
If there's something that you've learned throughout your life, like any adversity, what's that key message, if you could only teach them one, to pass on your child so that they would succeed in life?
Just keep learning. Yeah, I think that's a huge thing. Is you know, if you don't know the answers to something, go and investigate it. Go and ask someone. I sort of feel like I asked a lot of questions growing up, and had some amazing people teach me. So that's why I'll probably entrust in them. It's just, yeah.
Is there any key mentors that would know that you could tell us who those people were that gave you those lessons?
Yeah, there's probably the three that I always sort of speak about. Was my coach, you know, through surfing, Phil McMurray is even though he's my coach, he was a huge mentor for me.
Yeah, right. Those best coaches, right? They don't just teach you about your sport; they teach you about life, right?
Yeah, we probably spent more time talking about life than actual surfing, which was cool. And then a guy that I learned so much from. He's a psychologist. His name's Mike Gervais. He's incredible. He's has his own podcast called Finding Mastery, which is.
Were you seeing him as a friend, or?
I was seeing him as a client for a while,
wow.
And then
just opened up a whole book.
Yeah, and then he's a sports psych. Even though I'm crazy, I probably need to see another side.
Well, this is what I was going to ask you, because 3 of my family members have asked me to see a sports psych because they think that I'm crazy, but like I may be crazy in comparison to how they think. But hearing that, I was like, man, at least other top athletes are seeing him as well, because I was like, when they say that, I was like, I'm good, like, let's go.
Yeah.
But, that opens up a whole nother can of worms. But like, why did you go there at first, and how did it change
Yeah, look, I was sort of having a year where my performances were felt like my surfing was great, but I just couldn't get over this mental hurdle. Like I just kept making silly mistakes, and so I got put in touch with Mike, and then he taught me about like how powerful visualization was, and and just how to deal with the critic or those bad thoughts coming in, and then from there, like within the first month, I went on this mad run where I won 3 out of the last 5 events of the year, and it was just like
all mental, right?
Yeah, this guy's a messiah.
All
So,
mental, right?
Yeah.
Have you read With Winning in Mind?
I haven't read that. No.
So I keep saying, have you read? Like I'm a mad reader, but I'm actually a bad reader. But because I was doing the 75 hard thing, it bumped up my book count.
Yeah, nice.
But he was a 2-time Olympian, and at one stage he didn't have access to a shooting range. He was a shooter, and so he had to visualize the whole thing. And he wrote down all the steps of how to, because all of the Olympians, they would mess up when they got to the Olympics, because that was the biggest culmination of everything, and then they break there. So because he was visualizing so much. That's a whole.
He'd already been there.
And as soon as you say visualization with a mental coach, that's
Have you ever gone to sleep? One of my biggest wins, I went to sleep dreaming I won the next night, and I dreamt it, went out there and executed exactly, and had no doubts that I wasn't going to do it. I just knew that I won already.
Yeah.
Have you had that happen before?
Yeah.
Either of yous?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Sometimes I don't even know if it's because it's already happened or because I'm thinking it's going to happen.
Well,
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's because it's already happened, like it's going to happen. Do you know what I mean? Or I'm believing it's going to happen. Like, did I trip you out with that?
Yeah, no, I understand what you mean.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I was
I think-
is it already planned thing that this is going to happen? Is that why I'm dreaming it?
Like
Or is it
deja
because
vu in a way, yeah.
Or is it because I believe it's going to
I think
happen?
you could have it on 2 different angles. You could just go, no, it's already happened, and then walk in with that approach, or you can say, did I think it's going to happen?
Yeah.
But I think walking in and saying it's already happened would probably give you a mental upper edge.
Yeah, look, I think the mind doesn't know what's real and what's not, so you can manipulate it in a way. And I think that's the beauty of visualization, is like a lot of the times you probably do it in your sport a lot just to figure out how to do your trick, or how you do fighting, seeing the way someone moves, and I always felt like I was a lot calmer because I felt like, I've been here before. Because I visualized visualized walking down the beach or paddling into a wave or something like that.
And scientists still haven't figured out the visualization and the mind side, so us 3 knuckle draggers.
Or geniuses.
Exactly, or geniuses. So, I don't want to hold you too long, brother, but the key message for your kids, we got that. If you could change one moment, so this is not a regret thing, but if you could change one moment in your life or relive it, what would that moment be?
Oh, that's a hard one. I'll be here all night.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be changed because it was bad, but or relive it because it was one of the best moments that you had.
Yeah, look, I probably
too many.
Yeah. Nah,
Want to relive them all? Or
probably.
not?
Like, there's been moments like just witnessing nature, I got to sit with the gorillas in Rwanda one time. I'd love to go back and do that again. Or
My dream right there.
it's incredible. It's,
Always said,
you've never seen something so powerful but so majestic. They're incredible. Or
I'm just in awe of you right now. I just want to go live with them, mate. That's amazing.
It's beautiful. You got to,
It's not for me.
top 10 bucket list.
Really?
No. Right, my dad calls himself the silverback, and I've seen when he attacks, so I don't need a real one going at me.
How'd you go about that? What did they feel? How'd they feel? Did they have a
was-
strong energy? Because I know, like wild animals have this like energy about themselves. Like it's just
And
pure.
with gorillas, right? So my favorite thing from the saying of like how they act is peace through violence. Yeah, and I love that, man. I want to make that my saying because you see these guys and they just sit there and I was like, but I will kill you at any moment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love that. It was like, but they're very calm, everything, but
Yeah.
don't fuck with me, don't fuck to me.
It's like, you know, when like you're sitting in the bar and then, you know, the toughest man on earth just walks into the bar and you're like, okay. And just, you know, you...
Just
Yeah,
like,
see, that's
so
That's probably different for you.
and it's not with toughest because I just like, you know, when you see the biggest guy that excited, I'm like, can we fight? Like, I don't know. I get that, like, and not as a bully thing, but I was like, if the biggest guy's there, I was like, I want to. I don't know. That makes me want to, like, not in a bar.
Yeah.
I don't. I'll maybe in a bar, but not.
Yeah,
like when someone like that, but gorilla just feels like that. It's like the ocean, man. Why I'm so scared of the ocean, because it's just so uncontrollable. When another person's in front of me, I want to break you down. I want to like take the.
I always
like
say that people have feelings, so people can't react to it. Like, they only can hurt you as much as their feelings allow them to. Like sports and nature and wild things, they got no feelings towards you really, and it's so raw. Yeah, and the energy is so raw.
So Jordan Peterson, I've mentioned him another one now. This is 2 times. I'm reading his book at the moment, so 75 Hard's going well. So Jordan Peterson, he's a psychologist, and he said this drunk guy was trying to attack him. And he was got all this aggression. He's going, yeah, you want to go? You want to fucking go? Like pumping up. And then he said to him, no, it wasn't Jordan Peterson. I'll correct myself and I'll fix that in a minute. But he said to him, he goes, the fence at my house is not 6 foot tall. And when he said that, the guy just started crying because he had so much emotion that he didn't know what to do with it because he had to think about the fence that wasn't there.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? So like it was such a mental thing. This guy was like an alpha male and he's like, I'm going to kill you because there's this little guy. I've got you. And then he said, my fence isn't 6 foot tall at my house. He didn't know what to do, so he just started bawling his eyes out and crying. So it was Darren Brown as well, so he's another psychologist. But it just shows that, like, so with human mind, it's like it doesn't matter how big you are, and that comes back to UFC. Is like it's all mentality. Like you can mess up on the night, you can be the best fighter in the world. If that guy's better mentally on the night, that's it. So Sumo Wrestlers as well, the guy that's won all the competitions, I think they're called. I'm not even going to pronounce the Japanese name, but the guy that wins it, the guy that was going to compete against him, he said when I saw him, he had this aura about him, and they were the same size. He said he looked bigger than life, and I had already given up by the time he took off. But it's because he had already believed that he was going to lose.
It's funny. I've read a book. It's called Sapiens: Brief History of Humankind, and they reckon humans only been top predator for 150,000 years, so which has not allowed us, our mind, to develop to be top predator, and we're still confused about that. We're top predators like a gorilla and a lion and a shark, and that they've had millions of years to, and their minds adapted to be top predator. And when he explained that, I really looked into it, and I was like, yeah, humans don't know our place.
Sometimes that's where doubt comes from, right?
No lion has no doubt. They go for the kill, they do it.
Exactly.
I keep getting off topic. Sorry, bro. You fucking wanted to get out of here, but we keep dragging on. Sorry, bro.
The gorillas. Did you feel
pump me up?
Oh, it was incredible. Yeah, it was like magical. I pretty much went home and just was like, just had to take a moment just to soak it all in because it was just powerful. Super powerful.
Mad.
Yeah. I want that.
It's amazing. I highly recommend it.
Have you ever gotten that feeling with surfing?
Yeah.
And is that why it was so powerful? Because that was something that, like, there's only been a couple moments in my life and I can always draw to all of them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was it. That's what life's about.
Yeah. Look, I've been lucky enough to experience a lot, but...
Right, sneaky break.
But it's like even just like last month, just seeing a great white go through like the ocean, just seeing how powerful they are. You know, you're scared of them, but you're not fearful of them. If you know what I mean, like you respect them.
Don't know what you mean at all.
And that is so cool that you still have a respect for them.
We dived with sharks. I took my wife to dive with sharks at the Sydney Aquarium, and they're the ones that can't bite you. Like, you know, I think they're grey nurse or something.
Yeah, the grey nurse.
They're not dangerous. When I saw this 6 foot thing come at me, I don't care if it can bite me, can't bite me, I was shitting my pants. So they say you have to hold on to the glass and don't let go. And my wife she was like keeping her eyes on this shark no matter what. And you know how you're supposed to stay calm when you're breathing through and you can see the bubbles? Yeah. Her bubbles are just going blasting through. And then this, what are they called? Stingray came up. She didn't see the Stingray come up behind her, and it was like a double queen size bed.
Yeah.
I've never seen one so big.
Huge,
came
huh?
right overhead. They said, no matter what you do, don't jump off the ledge. Keep your hands on the thing. As soon as she looked over and saw that, boop, jumped straight off. And she tried to grab onto me. I was like, not today, babe. Palm, stiff arm. That's it. Laters, babe. Like, so I know how I'm going to react because I'm surviving. That's it. I was like, there's not enough. If you take me, it's like a Titanic. If we both go, there's no point. One of us got to survive. That's it. Like, laters. Last two questions.
Mind you, I'm never going in the boat with you or going out
no
the
deal.
bush.
I'm living.
He's like,
If we're stuck, I'm eating you. Like, that's it. Like I've already come to terms in my head. I was like that. I'm going on Survivor, and I'm gonna win Survivor no matter what. I'll eat all of them. I'll be the fattest person on Survivor to date. That's it. Done. I'm done. Survivor. I'll be in there. Done. Easy. I swear. And I'll jeopardize everything. It's a chess game. I'll break while they're sleeping. I'll just toe broke.
I'm hungry today.
That's it. I'll eat one toe at a time. That's it. 10 toes. Bang. No one's got toes. They're not racing. That's it. I win.
Well, you can be on the rubber duck. I'm taking this dude fishing soon. So he's going on the rubber ducky out the back. I need an extra teaser out there. Get on the bodyboard out the back, Tyson.
Bro, like when we get together, just crazy stuff happens. Last time we were together, we ended up branding each other. So that it's not like that's not. It's a roll on a pick. But okay, let's finish 2 questions. I swear we're gonna finish this.
We'll get there.
5 people, dead or alive, that you'd like to have dinner with.
Oh,
Yes, I love how this gets everyone.
this is a good one. There's few. There's I reckon Jimi Hendrix would be fun.
Mad.
And then you'd put in like the Dalai Lama, and then maybe like someone like a Barack Obama. I mean, I've got 2 left. Oh man, this is really sticking me now.
I always love it too because when Ty gave his, it was like Rihanna.
So
I'm going to get a chance with these.
that's where I
Beyonce.
I could throw Beyonce in there too.
So you're down to 1 or 2?
2.
I get 2. Have
He
I?
chucked it. Don't steal Beyonce.
Nelson Mandela.
That's a
that'd
good
be a good one. And then let's throw the girl of the moment. I'll throw in Greta Thunberg as well. Yeah. And
That's an interesting
It'd
point.
be cool just to see where everyone goes with their...
What's without getting too political because I don't want that to come back on me, but what's your outlook on her? Because for me, like I look at it and I go, like, is that a statement that someone like I completely appreciate that what she's doing for the reason, but is it her thoughts or is it like is that a statement that she's pushing or?
I don't think you can fake that thing these day and age. I think there's too much. There's too many cameras. There's too many social media. There's too many people that would put it out in the news. I don't think you can fake it. I don't think you can fake anything
For sure.
these days.
And actually, we were supposed to have Quaid, who was I don't know if you've seen. He's the Aboriginal child with dwarfism. He was supposed to come on this. On the podcast this weekend, but he's actually in surgery this weekend, so I hope his surgery's gone well. But he's actually copped a lot of flack because people made fake profiles, started saying that he was 18, and started saying that he wasn't the person trying to play the victim. And whether, like, this is what I believe. So I won't make a call on a person until I've met him. So, like, I don't care what social media said about you, don't care what anyone said about you. Until I meet you, I'll make my judgment call because I feel like I've become a pretty good call on character. And I said that I'd leave it to him. Also, they just said that they were going to give the $700,000 that was raised for him to go to charities. I was like, and also, he is a kid. And even if he is a dick to some of the people, have any of you guys dealt with dwarfism?
Well, we know how hard injury is. Let them know something that's
Oh man! As soon as the
life.
injury came, all of the people started talking shit to me on Instagram. Started saying like that you'll never be back. Started falling off the bandwagon because they only want to see you as a winner. They want to go up on you with jumping on the bandwagon. Is what
I feel like a champion comes back. You're like, adversity is what makes a champion. You can't be, if you're a champion, you have an adversity, you're not truly a champion.
Exactly. And that's a testament to Izzy's fight today. It was like it was so interesting to see that fight, how Yoel was able to completely change his game plan so Izzy's main thing is to feint and then get you to react off of that. So Yoel stopped that by not reacting to the feints. And then did nothing for the first 2 rounds. So essentially shutting off all of that and then just making it a 3-round fight. So brought himself into the game. It was so intelligent, and there was so many people booing. And but as a fighter, I'm watching the chess match and watching each inches and like what they work on. And it was just as interesting to watch that fight as it was to watch the Joanna fight, knowing what was going into it. I wish that Izzy didn't apologize for the fight, because he was sort of like saying apologizing for what happened, like not enough or whatever. But so much was going in. Even the ref saying you got to get to work. They were fucking working.
Oh yeah.
You've got someone that can knock you out at any time, and you're both trying to counter each other. He's changing game plan, so now Izzy's figuring it out on the fly. So yeah,
that's
was
pretty well.
Last one. Yeah, last one. What's the legacy that Mick Fanning wants to leave in the world?
Look, I think that's for other people to decide. I'm just going and
What your legacy's going to be?
Yeah,
bullshit.
Yeah,
you
no.
Can't let
look,
other people decide what your legacy's going to be.
I'm just doing me, man.
Hectic. I like that. I like that.
Yeah, I'm not going to go and tell people what.
Okay, so flip that. How would you like people to remember you?
Same thing. I don't.
Oh yeah, no, actually, don't care. I like that. Okay, how do you want yourself or your kids to remember you then?
Just someone that tried their best, you know, and yeah, just in every opportunity, just never gave up. That's pretty much it. Yeah, comes back to Mum's picture.
Full circle.
Yeah,
great outlook.
Full circle, and we'll get that picture up and we'll post it.
Can I say one thing?
Oh no. So
Let's go. I've heard that you used to travel from Penrith to the beaches.
My brothers.
When you were younger.
My brothers did, yeah.
Was that you?
Nah, it's my brothers, yeah.
I was going to say, that's dedication, man.
Yeah.
Being a kid there and travelling all the way out there,
so
that's
now
dedication.
that you know that it's not him, does he not have dedication?
No, he does have dedication. He has dedication. Either way, he's a world champion. You got to have dedication to be winning this thing.
So is there, did you want to give any shout outs, anything to look forward to, any movies, the documentary? Do we have the name of the documentary?
The documentary's called Save This Shark, and it'll be out August, September, I think. So
also you have a... Yeah, it is you. You have an app as well?
Nah.
For borderless travel?
Oh, yeah, Waco. Yeah.
Thank goodness I didn't look like a dickhead there. Well, okay.
On the dickhead here, forgetting shit.
You don't even remember your own business.
I know.
Got too many.
Yeah, Waco, so you can go and travel, and so you don't have to take boards on the plane.
I thought I got sold the dummy there. So lucky.
Got you there,
What do you
right?
mean? You don't have to take.
So you just rent boards. It's way easier. Yeah.
You
So
don't
it's
have
sort
to
of
take a
like
board with you overseas. And
Yeah,
stuff.
So it's like
you
when
have
you go
board
to the
shops
mountains or
everywhere?
whatever.
Or like board.
So in different surf shops that are already established, they'll have a whole rack of boards, and you can go and just rent boards. You know, as if you would go and rent a snowboard or a...
You come up with that idea yourself?
Not me, no. I just bought into it.
Yeah, that's it. Just be the face. That's it.
That's awesome.
Rough head.
But thank you so much
No,
for coming on.
no,
I appreciate it. This is probably one of our, well, I feel like it's one of our better podcasts for the information that we got from you, how to be successful, how to be the best in the world. And man, not only as a sports, as an athlete, you've shown that you're going to be the best outside in business and entrepreneurship. Is that a real word? Yes, but thank you so much for coming
No
on.
worries. Cheers.
From here, I'm pretty sure... Man, Quicksilver might jump on board with this, Bolter, so who knows? And,
Rip curl.
Thank you so much, bro.
No
I
worries.
appreciate you coming out,
Good
man.
luck.
Thank you, Luke.
Good luck.
as well.
Yeah,
Thanks,
cheers.
guys.
Thanks, brother, and all the best with the injuries.
Heal up. Yeah, you too.
Let's go.
Yeah,
Cheers.
for sure.